One of the themes that the mayor always strikes whenever I hear him, Daniel, is that Savannah cannot afford poverty. Do you think that that will resonate in other communities where there isn't a mayor saying that? Is it possible to roll this out in another way, or is there a trick on how to get other mayors to understand that they cannot afford poverty?
Our mayor, we're very fortunate to have a champion, and his first term, he barely won. He basically won because of the African American vote. His second term, he won overwhelmingly, and it was with the business community while he's been dealing with these social issues. However, he's been very clever in not making us be too dependent on him. He understands for the self-sustainability, we really need to look at having a strong board. And so I think through using poverty simulations, using them aggressively, also working with employers and getting them to be advocates for a lot of these issues, that's absolutely critical. And it's a real education campaign that needs to be ongoing. And we have turnover rate within folks that are from the poverty census tracts that are participating with Step Up, and folks that are from the business community that are participating with Step Up. And I think like any organization, that's going to always be a challenge, and you've got to regularly, you look for instruments to engage the community and keep them involved.
Terrific. We have time for questions, so throw them at anyone on the panel, please. Yes?
The question I had for the two women spoke earlier, have you engaged the philanthropic sector, the local philanthropic sector in this work at all?
I didn't hear what she said. I didn't hear the question.
Can you speak
Sorry.
louder?
Have you engaged your local philanthropic sector in the work?
The local philanthropic sectors? We've gotten support from a couple of our local foundations to perform primarily the research component of the Employment Stability Action Plan. We're doing this project in 3 phases. Phase 1 was the research, where we talked to, as Zane indicated, about 300 employers and interviewed them using a survey instrument developed by staff at the Southern Institute, asking them about work-life issues. And then the second phase has been the development of the action plan, and the third phase will be in the implementation. And it's been in that first phase, developing the research, and then the interest in them, in seeing in the local philanthropic area community of trying to implement some of the strategies that are going to be coming out of the action plan. That's generated quite a bit of interest, and so we've gotten, let me know when you're finished. We want to collaborate with some businesses and possibly some chambers to roll out some of the strategies that are included.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm Kristen Scotchmark from the Community Foundation here at the National Capital Region, and I was wondering if in any of the conversations you've been able to engage business leaders in conversations about wages, and sort of not to discount the importance of transportation and childcare and training, but how fundamental wages are too, and higher wages are to eliminate poverty.
We've done in Savannah, we've tried to set the bar by kind of walking the talk, and so the city has just implemented some significant raises for their lowest wage workers. But we've really been focusing more than anything on workforce development programs, which will hopefully make folks more able to harness, get the skills to be able to harness higher wages. We're very careful to not be talking about, living wages and things like that with business community in Savannah. We want to keep them at the table talking about these things and do this gently.
We have had conversations with employers, and if you look at, South Carolina is an example that I use, probably about 80% of our employers there are small businesses. They're the small mom and pop shops that they're not going to increase substantially wages for their employees. They can't afford that themselves. We are not talking about large, mostly corporations such as Wachovia or Bank of America. We did, in terms of developing the action plan, we had a very frank conversation with the 20 business representatives that are a part of the council on this issue of wages. And what we did was that we developed an action plan that we felt was much more practical and much more, people would be more engaged, business community and business leaders would be more engaged with the action plan if it had been dealt with more in a collaborative way, as opposed to simply focusing on the increased wages.
I want to thank the panel. Oh, we have one last question. Quick. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm with the Washington Area Women's Foundation. We're based here in DC.
Can you speak up?
Yes.
Excellent.
My question is for Daniel. Could you share just a little bit more about the 25 Families program? I'm interested in the demographic characteristics of those families, what the level of investment was made in the families, and just a quick snapshot on some of the outcomes.
This was a program which we initiated, and at the time it was only a couple of us on staff with this huge collaborative that we're trying to maintain. And some of the business leaders on my board said, well, we need to work with 25 families. And I said, well, look, I'm not an MS, I don't have a master's degree in social work. It's not my background. I'm a community organizer. How are we going to, you want us to case manage 25 families? I said, yeah, we need to make this more tangible. We need to really get folks and look for advocates to work with these 25 families and look at how we can move them along. And so we did, put together a plan, and we had a referral system with the Department of Family and Children and with the homeless agencies, and we had a whole myriad of different types of families that were involved with the 25 Families program, of which we paired each of the families with a community advocate, I guess, generally a business person, and in a couple cases, an entire family that would work with that family. And it was a very powerful lesson. We put a lot of work into it and worked with a lot of organizations that had background in this. And there were some successes. I can't go through them all, but you can definitely go to our website and download a complete report which talks about it all. I mean, some folks were able to complete GEDs. I mean, we only worked for 1 year. I think anybody in this room will understand that you need to have a much more deep commitment to work with folks if you're really going to see a lot of change. This was this was to serve as a benchmark, and we were very upfront with the families when we first started the program that this was going to be a year program that would be they'd be sharing knowledge with us. They'd be sharing their experiences with us. And we put them front and center with them to share their knowledge to help influence the strategies within the action teams. At the same time, the folks, there were a lot of folks that really were able to get helped in a lot of different ways, from somebody that was able to sit down with a person and put together a budget and go about cleaning up a credit report and consolidating debt that had been amassed through a medical issue, and then getting the lady actually to finish her GED and then to go to Savannah Technical College, to another situation with someone that was able to actually get out of public housing and into their own home with the help of a nonprofit developer. And so there are a ton of lessons and a ton of accomplishments. A lot of the 25 families after 1 year, we still had 15 families that were still working with the program.
And what was the total amount that you invested in that program?
We're real bare bones as far as Step Up in general. I've got a $200,000 budget, and as I'm funded through the city and through a lot of these other folks, and we had absolutely zero invested in that program. It was us on staff that were working with them.
Spotlight plans to establish a business council that pulls together businesses who wish to be on the forefront of addressing poverty, leadership from this table and around the country. So on your blue evaluation forms, when you get to it at the end of the session, you'll see a chance for you to list family members, colleagues on your boards and others who might be interested in learning more about how to be part of a Spotlight on Poverty through a business lens. So we hope you'll fill that form out and tell us some businesses that we should learn about, and we will contact you to find out more first. I want to ask everybody to join me in thanking this panel.